So, in my newsfeed, I got a video about can Satanists and mainstream religionists ever see eye to eye? No, they can't. Let's cut to the chase. Realistically speaking, authentic Satanists and mainstream religionists, no, they'll never see eye to eye on anything. Period. It's just not going to happen. Why? Because Satanism, true Satanism, is diametrically opposed to mainstream religionism. Okay? Now, I'm not a Satanist. I want to make that very clear. I am not a Satanist. Okay? I'm also not a Christian. I'm going to get into that more later. So the video, there's three characters, three Satanists that I want to talk about. And a lot of this has to do with the liberalization of the Church of Satan. We have to remember that Anton LaVey, the founder of the Church of Satan, and most original Satanists were hardcore law and order, very socially conservative types. Okay? They weren't liberal hippies, and they weren't humanists. In fact, as you'll see I left a list of videos and links to videos and articles and everything else in the description. If you check out the interview of Bob Larson and Zena LaVey and Nicholas Schreck, Nicholas Schreck points out how basically humanism, and he's accurate in stating this, humanism is the same twisted anti-human morality, anti-life morality that Christianity professes, modern Christianity professes, without Jesus. It's the same nonsense. It's the same bag, same hang-ups, same things. It's just not called Christianity. Liberalism is the same nonsense as Christianity. Check it out if you don't really compare the two, and you will see that they're virtually the same thing. Satanism is diametrically opposed to both liberalism and mainstream religion. Okay? So I'm going to go through the characters here, not the Hindu or the Muslim or the Christian. I'm not here to pick a fight with mainstream religion. I'm here to pick a fight with morons calling themselves Satanists. And these seem to be more of the Satanic Temple brand of Satanist, the radical leftist pro-abortion, used to be a theistic Satanist group, now it's an atheistic Satanist group, blah, 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 blah. And I do actually blame this on the liberalization of the Church of Satan over the years. Okay, the radical liberalization of the Church of Satan, I think, is what's to blame, and it not standing by its values. Okay, so the first is Jathan, who's a humanist that looks like a rock star from the 1990s from a grunge band. And his thing is that he was going to, I forget whether it was Pentecostal, I think it was a Pentecostal church. He was training to be a minister. And he read the Bible a lot. And when you read the Bible a lot, you don't agree with it. So he's a humanist. And he equates Satanism with humanism because Satanism is fighting for everybody's individual liberties. Not really. Satanists, generally speaking, just want to be individualists and don't want to be bothered. They're not necessarily fighting for anything. Okay? Lois is a Satanist, raised Jewish, which you will see a lot of these radical, offbeat religions. You will see a huge overrepresentation of Jewish folks in them, whether it's Wicca or any of the New Age religions, Wicca, any yoga type nonsense or spiritual seeking. And it's because Judaism doesn't give them what they're looking for. It does not satisfy their urge of self-actualization. It's because it's very empty. Modern Judaism is a very dry, empty belief system. Same thing with Christianity, but even more so. Okay, Richard Laliel, that's it, Laliel, because that's definitely his birth name. He's a very flamboyant Satanist that seems to have a sex toy up his anus that activates every time he says the words Christian and God, fairness and unfairness, Okay, so this dude is a real weirdo with a freaking little mustache that looks like devil horns and all this other crazy nonsense. And he pisses and moans and whines about the fairness and unfairness and blah, blah, blah about the Bible and wah, 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 wah. Now, that's not what Satanism's about. Satanism really doesn't care about the Bible. It just doesn't. It's its own thing. So, what got me to leave it? Now, myself, what's my belief system? I've put this out there. I'm a scientific pantheist. I don't believe in a lot of mumbo jumbo or hocus pocus. As I started looking into longevity stuff and how to make myself live longer, I started looking into Seventh-day Adventism, and I started realizing that there's universal truths due to my past understanding of comparative religions. I started understanding there's universal truths in the religions that's based on naturalistic observation. And I'll leave a link to the one dude, Walter Veith, although Walter Veith makes the whacked out leap that somehow, because these things are based on clear observation of nature, that somehow that proves that there's, some kind of, that God's behind everything and all that. My belief in God is the same belief as Anton LaVey expressed in the Satanic Bible, which nobody wants to admit, under the part of the book called God Wanted Dead or Alive, and that's that God is the source that emanates all life, basically. Okay. Religiously, or I might even just say philosophically, I'm most similar to a sort of hybrid between cosmotheism, William Luther Pierce's cosmotheism, and Ben Clausen's creativity. That would be most similar. I'm going to leave links to what those are in the description so that people can understand them. I don't belong to anything. And this is what's interesting about the Church of Satan or the Satanic Temple or all this other nonsense. Satanism is a religion for non-joiners. You should question very much anybody that calls themselves a Satanist that decides to join a group, because it kind of isn't in sync with the nature of somebody that's a Satanist. Okay. Also, when I stated that my beliefs are similar to, or basically very similar to, a hybrid of Pierce's religion and Clausen's religion, I forgot to mention that the ideas on race, I have the belief in the cosmic race. So there's a bit of Jose Vasconcelos in there, which I will also leave links to so people can understand that. I'm not a Satanist. I'm not a Christian. I'm not nothing. I'm a scientific pantheist. That's what I am. Okay. I have thought about for years to put pen to paper and scratch out the dogma of my own religion. However, I have thought it may be hypocritical, but I figured, at this point, with the nonsense that's being pumped out, it might be time for me to actually put pen to paper, get off my ass, and do it. Because what's being pushed as the alternative to mainstream religion is disorienting. It's radicalizing, unfortunately. It's radicalizing many people, and it's bad. It is bad for society, in my opinion. I believe that both the Church of Satan and the Satanic Temple are horrible for society. And it's not that I'm against them or against their rights to preach what they preach, but I do think that it leads to radicalization. I mean, for God's sakes, the Satanic Temple got its start by talking about how they wanted to defend Muslims. There'd be gangs of Satanists defending Muslims against conservative Christians. So, and that right there, that goes against the tactical mindset of a Satanist. Why would a Satanist interfere between two right-handed path religions? Why not let them destroy each other? It doesn't involve the Satanist. That's the idea that the Satanist should have in that situation. That would be the tactical understanding of that. But that's not what they do. And then they're promoting of abortion, and with all this blood and gore and craziness and wildness and shrieking and dressing like witches and demons and blah, 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 blah. That too is against Satanism, because Satanism, original Satanism, is a life-affirming religion. And Anton LaVey stated on a number of occasions, now the Church of Satan's official stance was neither or, because they didn't want to, it was neither nor, I should say, because they didn't want to get in that shtick. They didn't want to get in that situation. So LaVey's individual viewpoint, which is consistent with objectivism and things of that nature, is that it's against Satanism to take away something's life without, just because it resides in your body does not mean you have the right to destroy it. So I think that is more consistent. I think LaVey is far more consistent there. My belief, as far as the last legitimate satanic religion, is the werewolf order. The werewolf order that was run by Nicholas and Zena Schreck, which I will give links to many interviews of Zena Schreck, because I think that was the last time you have seen interviews with a legit Satanist. There are offshoots of that, such as Boyd Rice's concepts and James Mason's concepts, which there will also be links to interviews. Bob Larson did a wonderful, wonderful thing, because, as we know from the 9 Satanic Statements, Satan is the best friend of the church and is the gift that keeps giving, because Bob Larson created these videos that basically keep alive the true spirit of Satanism. So you have many Zena LaVey and Nicholas Schreck interviews, and also Boyd Rice and James Mason. Watch those interviews so you can get a taste of what Satanism was like at its height when it was a legit religion in the 1980s. Ironically, also at its peak was also when it died down. It's very interesting. When it was at its peak of legitimacy, it dropped off, and which is kind of interesting, I think. But anyway, that's my gist on this. This is just a ridiculous-ass video. I find it to be disgusting in many ways, and that's my take on that.